Welcome to the podcast. We talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. This is Isaac.
And this is Megan.
And on today's episode, we talk about a being that I'm surprised I didn't know much more about than already. But this seems to be like on the list of things in the Bible and other forms of religion that's kind of not mentioned as much.
Yeah.
But the Watchers.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about them either. I had to do like some digging because when Isaac told me, I've heard of like shadow things that are considered like the Watchers, but that was like a totally different thing. So yeah, I had to do some research myself.
Now, if you're going, what? I don't know how many of you are up with your Bible knowledge, but in the Book of Enoch, I was thinking it's like that almost sounds like a metal word said like a blah, Enoch.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, the Watchers were angels sent by God to watch over man in the early days. Now, this is pre-flood.
Yeah.
Right? So the man before the flood. So Noah's time and all that stuff. To basically observe and, report, essentially, how they're doing, stuff like that. Now, these angels that he sent, not on the best terms.
Yeah,
right?
They fell in love with the...
No.
Oh.
Before I even get to that part.
I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Skipping ahead.
Yeah. No. They weren't on the best terms with God.
Uh-huh.
Right? Christian God. They weren't on the best terms with him. Hence why they got sent to be basically just babysitters, in a sense.
Yeah.
Now, Sam Yereza, am I saying his name right? The leader of the Watchers, right? And this is almost like a bleed into a ripoff of Greek mythology in a sense.
Uh-huh.
But he thought that in the other ones, the Watchers that were there with him, thought it would be better if they helped mankind along, right?
Yeah.
And go against God's word with just watching and just what's like that.
Yeah.
Which kind of, there's some also rumors about them being fallen angels, essentially like that. But rebelling against it, God can kind of associate the same thing. But they started giving God modern technology and ideas of science and pushing him along. But was it really the caveat, you would say, to them being almost, let's say, banished on Earth was them falling in love with the women of Earth.
Wow.
And procreating
yeah.
and making giants.
Yeah, which is...
the Nephilim, which is Aramaic, I think, for giant. But we'll get into them later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the Watchers, like I said, their main job was to basically observe and report and all that. There were certain Watchers that gave man certain not abilities, but like one, I can't remember his name, but he was the one that kind of gave us the ideas for war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was even astrology, I think, was in there too. Yeah.
So he helped push men along. But, so they were doing this stuff, they were kind of immortalizing themselves by being there. When they created Nephilim, the giants, right? Now, the giants, Nephilim, created from the Watchers, because it's kind of like a half and half episode of both those.
Yeah.
They were kind of at peace with humans at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine beings that were like, 20 feet tall, giant monster of men. The biggest human beings on Earth right now are like 8 feet tall and stuff like that. But these guys are like 20 feet.
Yeah.
They're monsters, right? And they had kind of a peace treaty going on with man and stuff like that, but they got greedy. And they started wreaking havoc and pillaging and stuff like that and trying to take over. To a point where the story goes that Archangel, what's his face?
What's his face? Michael.
Michael.
Yeah.
I was thinking Raphael for a second, but no.
Raphael does more so like healing. Like Michael is normally the one that keeps order.
Was sent down to basically say, "Hey, cut this shit out," right?
Yeah.
And Uriel, I think was his name, one of the archangels. It was the one that passed the message on to Noah, saying, "Hey, they're messing stuff up, and we kind of need to do a reset, right?"
Yeah.
So hence why Noah's Ark happened and stuff like that. Now there's a rumor that Noah was somehow related to Nephilim.
Interesting.
Somewhere had not long descended down. Now, this is a story that's been told the Christian point of view. Now everyone knows that, if you're more knowledgeable, that a lot of things were in the Christian faith from the Bible were taken from other pieces of other religions, right? Some of the stories from Egyptian belief and other pantheons of gods. Even the story, essentially, with the Watchers, kind of sounds like the Greek gods, right? Each specific angel had a specific thing to give to man. which essentially could be a different god giving man a certain ability to,
Yeah.
further advance themselves. But what I'm probably going into time a little more here and there. But what was more interesting is that in doing a little research on this, I found that the Native Americans, their legends, their stories told to them are almost identical.
Really?
They have stories of giants being born from the spirits of the sky and mating with women and creating giants that would wreak havoc.
Dang.
And 2 sons, 2 twin brothers, were born. I forget what the other one's name is, but I remember one was named something Algonquin or Native American, but essentially meaning the slayer of giants. Right? And those 2 brothers wiped out majority of the giants together in North America at the time. From Cherokee to Apache, right? They all had a similar story. Because when Christian, missionaries came to America during the times like that, and they try to basically say, hey, listen to our story and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, we already know that. Like, what? Like, yeah, the flood, all that, we already know all that. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? It's like, because our ancestors told us. They passed them the stories down.
Wow.
So
that's crazy that like 2 separate areas of the world that at that time didn't really come together and see each other.
There's a bigger conspiracy about a lot of things being connected together.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. So North America and stuff like that already had giants, apparently, from those stories. Now that goes back to the older idea, that connected to another tangent to a theory, about Pangea, about basically us being one continent and all of us being together at once, and then we started working together. But that kind of happens. I don't know what a timeline is between the Tower of Babel and the flood, right? I think the Tower of Babel came first and then the flood did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta look that up.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so Nephilim were wreaking havoc, and that's when the flood happened, right? To basically eradicate a lot of the people, and take out these Nephilim giants that were basically causing a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Watchers, angels, became fallen angels, which I think God said, "No, you're stuck there now. You what?"
Didn't they have didn't he cast like a couple of them under the Euphrates River?
That's what Michael did. He imprisoned, chained some of them, including the leader, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure or not. But chained some of them underneath the Euphrates.
Yeah, Euphrates River.
Yeah.
Which is what they're like conspiracy theories about, like the end of the world and stuff like that. That's where they're like worried about, because it's apparently in the Bible somewhere or something with tying the end of the world. Like when the Euphrates River starts like getting lower and lower, it's like closer to the end, because apparently when the river is like dried up, end of the world is like one of the things. And I think recently there was some like article or something about it drying up, and started panic in like conspiracy theorist minds about but I thought it was interesting that he chained them in the Euphrates River, and because I never tied the 2 together. Like I said, I going into this, I had like no clue.
No, it's not a story that I was told a lot when in my young Christian days.
Yeah.
I remember learning about Samson and stuff like that, and then of course Goliath, who was a Nephilim, right? One of the last ones alive after the flood. Now that leads me into one of my other theories. A lot of the Nephilim survived the flood, right? Not every one was wiped out. Every person probably was wiped out, but not the Nephilim. They survived. Hence why you had stories like the giant that was found in Iraq, the big braided beard one that took an entire platoon of soldiers to take out.
Oh yeah, I thought that was when you told me that, I was like, whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
That could have been a leftover Nephilim over time, right? Different giant spottings throughout time, different places across the world, finding giant footprints and giant bones left over.
Yeah.
Now, if all this took place, 10,000 BC, or however how long ago you want to do the timeline ago, right? bones could still exist through that time. Look at dinosaur bones still existing now,
Yeah.
petrified and stuff like that. So a lot of people say giants never existed. These are just stories, right?
A
Now,
lot of stuff.
yeah, a lot of stuff, but it could also explain why some humans are enormous giants, essentially.
Yeah.
Why some of us are reach the height of 7 feet, 8 feet tall, and have or easy gain muscles and like monsters amongst men and stuff like that. Why
Yeah.
it's easy, like that could be like a leftover Nephilim gene that's somehow tracing the bloodline all the way till now. Because you look at the average person, right? And it's going to hurt a lot of shorter guys who think they're tall, but no, the average height of the American man is 5'8".
Yeah.
That's the average height of the American man is 5'8". That's just America. You can imagine the rest of the world with a lot of people shorter,
Yeah.
right?
I think the overall of the whole world was 5'6".
That is that's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But being tall was essentially not a normal thing. Even you look at like we call it when we go to museums and stuff like that and see like chairs and like tables and furniture from like the early 1800s, right? A lot of it's small,
Yeah.
right? And people say, "Oh, humans were a lot smaller back then." Well, technically, we're still kind of small now.
Yeah.
But when you look at like people who reach the heights of like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", even taller, right?
Yeah.
There's a pro wrestler right now who's 8 feet tall.
8?
Yeah. Well, 2 actually. Sorry, almost is about 7'8", and then what's his face? He just joined AEW. The Indian guy. He's a monster. I think he's 8 feet tall. Great Khali was about 7'9", 8 feet tall.
What about Andre the Giant?
He was 8 feet tall too.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I'm only 5'1". Do you have to be like standing next to them? Holy!
Pick you up like a couple of grapes.
A couple of grapes. That was a random.
If you ever watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you know the reference.
Okay, I haven't, so that's why. I was like, what?
Anyway, but yeah, that's my theory, is that somehow the Nephilim gene is still existent in humans today, hence why some of us reach monstrous heights and enormous power, right? Stronger than the average human.
Yeah.
Why we can be these say giants, essentially, right? That gives some proof that there is that gene long ago. And some people relate it to the idea that if we came from the Anunnaki and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
That is still in our bloodline, and the original, well, it's just a little bit of their blood still mixed with us. And we are supposed to be that big because they were that big. And us being tiny was just kind of how we were made by them.
Yeah, because I remember when I was researching this too, I mean, that was one of the first things that popped up was like the reference to the Anunnaki, and I was like, whoa, what?
Well,
yeah,
it's funny you say that. Ancient Sumerian tablets reference beings like the Watchers. Now, that goes back all the way to ancient Sumerian time. They reference beings like the Watchers, which the ancient Sumerians, the Anunnaki, when they talk about the Anunnaki coming down, they was a group of Anunnaki aliens that helped mankind. Told two different ways. One was helping mankind flourish or stuff like that. The other is they create us, stuff like that. Now, if you take the same number of Watchers, the same number of Anunnaki, they're almost the same amount of beings that helped man out. And even different religions, they talk about beings coming from the sky and helping man. Different religions, all that stuff, right? So the Watchers could have been essentially, the Christian Bible's version of a pantheon of gods helping man out in the early days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I did not find a lot on it, but I'm curious if you did. But are there dark Watchers? Like, are there, because you have like those that were kind of like, monotone, like they helped people out and whatnot. But like, was there any dark Watchers?
Like I said, these angels that were sent to watch were on the best terms, right?
Yeah.
And I would say it was a punishment or something like that, but a lot of them probably succumbed to evil thoughts.
Yeah.
Now, there's also, I don't know if it was true, and I was reading a lot of things when I was looking up stuff on the Watchers, but apparently one guy was saying that demons corrupted the Watchers into mating with women, creating Nephilim, because the demons knew Nephilim would be a race of beings that could kill God's perfect children.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But if, and this goes into like a deeper theory, kind of going on, I say off the rails, but
Yeah.
is that if demons were here first and the fallen angels, essentially the Watchers, came here and were corrupted, and some of them became demons over time, or just became fallen angels, who the hell was here first then?
Yeah. Whoa.
And I have my own conspiracy ideas about the idea of what Earth was before, stuff like that, but that goes to a whole different thing. Yeah, I only have another hour here, but
Yeah.
this feels like our theories and stuff like this on this. But no. Where I was going with this. That's right. Some of the information I got was, at least the theory was that the Watchers were aliens, which kind of resorts to, we'd say, all forms of religions gonna say that are aliens that were the beings that came down and basically taught man this and that, stuff like that, right? Because you look at angels probably depicted, and in the Bible, stuff like that, you actually draw the way they're supposed to look. They look like giant machine wheels with eyeballs in the center and like all wings with like 10,000 eyes and stuff like that. Like not handsome humans, right?
Yeah.
So if these beings are things like that, that would make sense to them being alien, essentially. Well, to us anyway. So, but what was I saying? Would you like to hear some of the Watchers' names?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Because there was over 200 of them, right?
Yeah, but not all of them were known.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
We went down the list a bit long, but
Yeah.
anyway. Arcariel? I'm not saying that name right or not. I'm getting that stuff from Wikipedia. So
yeah.
Anyway, taught humans the signs of the earth. However, in the Sibylline Oracles, I'm going to read that. Orca is referred to not as a fallen angel or a watcher, but one of the 5 angels who led the souls humans to judgment.
Wow.
And the other 4 being Ramar, Uriel, Samael, and Azrael. They really like those Ariel names. Armos taught humanity resolving of enchantments.
Yeah, there was a lot. I did read that there was, like, I forgot which one specifically, but they taught women sorcery.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And old technology, like I said from the last episode.
Yeah.
Lost to time.
Dang.
All right. Azrael. Azazel. Azazel. That's interesting. Azazel was the name of the mutant in X-Men that could teleport, the red demon-looking one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taught humans to make knives, swords, shields, and other diverse ornaments and cosmetics.
Yeah.
So he basically taught mankind warfare, which if there was a top of the shit list for Archangel Michael to go after, he was on it because mankind was fighting with themselves. Yeah. Guardrail taught the art of cosmetics, funny enough, and the use of weapons and killing blows. So those two together.
Yeah.
One was a blacksmith, one was the trainer.
Dang.
Yeah. Barkrell taught astrology.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Bezalel. I hate Hebrew names. You probably look this up yourself and you want to get the proper pronunciation.
Yeah.
It was mentioned in Enoch, but it was left out of most of the translations because of the damaged manuscripts and problematic transmissions of text. I wonder what that one was about. Chazar, though? It looks like Charizard.
Almost looks like what?
Charizard, Chazcrow. Taught humans the signs of the clouds, meteorology.
Wow.
How to measure weather.
You know, like how when you mentioned this, right? Kind of remind me of that substitute teacher that can't pronounce the.
Hey, wrong. Well, if their names are this fucking hard. Yeah.
That's like my maiden name is Aragona, and they call it Aragon. Eric.
Aragona.
Like, yeah.
Aragona. Okay. Going on with this. Kokabel. Kokabel. This is his name, and he is high-ranking, holy angel, in Enoch. He is a fallen watcher, a resident in the nether realms, and commands 365,000 surrogate spirits to do his bidding. Among other duties, he instructs his fellows in astrology.
Wow.
Penroom? Almost like perfume. Pennymoon. So, yeah, whoever's like knows the proper pronunciation, I'm just freaking pissing them off. Taught mankind the art of writing in ink and paper, and taught the children of men the bitter and sweet, and the secrets of wisdom.
Wow.
Yeah. Cereal taught mankind. Oh, like cereal. Cereal taught mankind about the courses of the moon and regarding forbidden knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
And Samaziah was a leader, right? Yeah. Now this one's interesting. Shamsiel. Anyway, was once a guardian of Eden.
Wow.
As it stated in Zohar. I don't know what the hell that is. With the two chief asides to the archangel Uriel, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other side being Hazael. When Uriel bore his standard into battle, and is the head of the 365 legion of angels, and also crowns prayers. Weird. Yeah, that's a short list so far of, I guess, the most important ones. Watchers when it came to giving man knowledge and stuff like that.
That's interesting. And the reason why it was forbidden is because it was technically what they've learned from being in heaven.
Yeah.
And they weren't supposed to relay that information.
We got to think about every religion, right? Every mythology has a story of a god or gods giving information to man and being punished for it by an elder god, right?
Yeah.
We know about Prometheus, right? Giving man fire, which is essentially knowledge to do so, and he was forever punished for all eternity to be ripped apart by crows, and then the next day be healed over again to happen to him all over again.
Dang.
Right? That's
a curse.
Yeah, as a Zeus did. Basically just say, I didn't want them knowing this shit, and I'm going to punish you forever.
Yeah.
Right? Same for Christianity. Archangel Michael came down and says, what are you doing? Why are you messing everything up? Right? They're not ready for all this. Look what they're doing to each other.
Yeah.
Now we got to destroy it all because you wanted to do that stuff, right? But some of that knowledge was kept through time. And as I said, some of the Nephilim, the children of the Watchers, was left over. Created giants and still in our bloodline, hence why we're still advancing now.
Yeah.
To where we are now.
Yeah, I definitely don't have any Nephilim.
Not
at all. 5'1".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here goes the interesting part.
Mm-hmm.
There's a long list of angels according to Christianity and stuff like that. Now, it's a different theory. This is what had me thinking about the Watchers and everything I learned about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That there are angels sent here to watch. Essentially, they messed everything up by mating with men and then giving us the knowledge and technology and stuff like that to basically just kill ourselves even faster. There's the old story that essentially, the theory anyway, is that demons were always been around forever. Mm-hmm. It's why all religions have their own form of demons, right? Yeah. The creature demons, the entity, what they are, right? Yeah. The dark spirits. Whoever religion you would talk to has their own versions. And they were around before the devil even was around. But he became the leader of them when he fell to the earth, right? So, here's an idea that's probably going to piss off any Christian listeners, essentially. And it's just a theory, it's not actually that. But what if, in that same terminology, angels, the beings angels, always existed, beings of light. But God, or the Christian God anyway, from Yahweh and stuff like that, came in and basically took control and charge of all of them. Because he was more powerful. Some of them didn't like it. So I said, hey, what are you doing about that? What are we doing? We always were fine the way we were doing it. I'm glad you got to be in charge. He said, oh, you're going to go down and watch these humans then. And I decided to put on Earth, right?
Yeah.
And they became fallen angels over time. Stuck here, essentially.
But then it makes you wonder, too, like, well, they created us.
Well, that's the biggest question that's been around forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows they're going to be answered. There's different theories about us being a prison planet, humans being punished here for something our ancestors from like probably a million years ago did, and we're just still stuck here paying for the price, right? Hence where the story of Adam and Eve came from. Maybe they stole knowledge, and there's a whole bunch of shit we can talk about. But the one time that, because I've been in the presence of a demon more times than I think I have, right? Mm-hmm. We both have, anyway.
Yeah.
But the one time that I was pretty sure I was in the presence of a being of an angel, right?
Yeah.
I could still feel it with my ability.
Yeah.
And as someone listening, like, oh, you tie in your ability to this episode, huh? It works with a lot of things. Yeah. I'm not trying to, but it just reminded me of that one incident we had at the web library where I felt and powerful energy on the left side of my hand that charged my entire arm. The last time I felt anything on that power level on the right was a demon.
Yeah. And to put a little bit of a preface in there, we weren't going back to the web library anymore, and we were crossing over or helping anybody that needed to go to the other side. So like any messages that come through, they were going through to the psychics were saying like if anybody needs to go on, like if we can help you anyway, whatever. And we actually had somebody on the team that was reading a prayer, calling in archangels to help, like cross these people if they need to be crossed. If they want to stay here, that's up to them. Again, free will, that's the biggest thing. And any religion, I think, is the whole idea of free will. And so, if they wanted to stay behind, they didn't want to cross, they were more than willing to stay. And so when we were saying that, we were calling in the archangels, like even the psychics could feel like a little bit of a shift, but that's when you said, whoa, what is that?
Like I've never felt anything that powerful on the light side.
Yeah.
Darkness, every single time, every day, something's always coming at me dark-wise. Yeah. And then once in a while I feel something light, but it'd be a human spirit, just enough to make my hand charge. But my entire left arm, all the way up to my shoulder, never have I ever felt anything that powerful.
Yeah.
And after researching stuff on the Watchers, made me wonder, was it a Watcher that came by saying, what is going on over here? How are all these spirits crossing?
Yeah.
What's happening, right? And they were curious to know what was going on.
Because we had, I think 2 people from 2 different religions reading prayers, and we had 4 psychics working like hard to cross over anybody that needed. That whole night was that. And I think it's important to preface too, to any listeners kind of like wondering, like even with our paranormal team, like how we kind of did things is with Isaac's ability, basically he would pull the dark. Because I know from our research that we've done and our experience in like going to these places, that sometimes there are dark entities that keep the light ones trapped. It's just how it is, or the light ones don't know how to move on, which creates, light and dark, and then you have dark things that keep it there. Like, oh, you don't know where you're going, let me keep you here. Especially if there's dark energy already there, from like a brutal murder or something like that. And so basically Isaac would remove any of the dark energy off the plane, like, to allow light ones to come in. And like that happens a lot with us in investigations. He'll, like he would scope the like area, pull the dark ones off so the light ones could come through, and if they had a message or if they wanted to cross or if they needed help or whatever. Because a lot of spirits sometimes just need the verbalization of their story and what's going on and it out to be able to cross. Especially if it's a darker situation that happened to them. And so then the psychics would come in. There was 4 at the time. I think we had like three on the first original team. On this team that we have now, we have two. No, all of us are.
You gotta count me in the same thing.
Well, yeah, you can kind of help cross people a little bit. But on the new team, we have the Shadow Walker Paranormal. We have 3. So basically, the rest of the night is, like capturing any evidence, like talking to the spirits, letting them cross. And then at the night, anything else that's left over that's dark or that's, was hiding at the beginning is kind of, out in the open dark. Isaac will pull from the ground to remove any negative energy. And, like us, the other psychics will put back in positive energy so that anybody that wants to cross can cross, we say a prayer, and obviously tell nothing to follow us home. So that's kind of like how we operated, and that's how we kind of, in our mind, thought the best possible way to cleanse an area and to help the people that were stuck there at these locations. So, I don't know, just to give that out there.
Yeah. And
that's a little bit of a tangent, but it kind of ties in with what Isaac was feeling to kind of understand why he would be feeling that.
Well, that was my idea afterwards, that it could have been a watcher that came by and was curious about what was going on, because I've never felt anything like that in any place we've ever been before.
Yeah.
And making me think, right, that some of these watchers, the good ones anyway, were allowed to stay, or I say allowed to stay, but kind of meant to stay.
Yeah.
And just keep watch over mankind until this day. And it's why you get stories about guardian angels and stuff like that, and people being saved randomly and different like that. They might be interfering, but helping people out every now and then because they want to.
Yeah. I can tell you really quick a time when that happened to me. And I think I've said it on here before. Make it super short, so you guys don't have to hear like 30 minutes of this one story. But basically, I was going one night. I like going grocery shopping and coffee like runs at night for some reason. That's just my thing. Anyways, so me and my sister were going, and I thought I misjudged the light. Like I thought ours was green, but it wasn't. It was a turning lane, and before I could recognize it, I hit the brakes, but we were already almost like in the middle of the intersection. And like I was to the point where I was like bracing for impact. Like I was like, this is gonna happen. We're gonna get in an accident. The car is going to turn. Like I already felt it. And I was just basically waiting for the impact. And then all of a sudden, like within a blink of an eye, the brakes stop, and we were literally behind the white line. And I looked over to her, and even she was like, what the heck? And we were fine. Nothing hit us. We were behind the white line, but literally I saw us in the intersection. So I don't really know what happened there. I could just cough it up that maybe like somebody, like a guardian angel was pushing the car back. Cause that's what it felt like, is like we were in the middle of the intersection, and by the time I could even blink, it happened so fast, and it felt like we were being pushed back. But I don't know. It was crazy. And then so we go across the street, keep going. Me and my sister are both like, whoa, what the heck just happened? Like, what was that? And we were sitting there, and I was talking to her about it. Like, I was like, psych, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, that was insane. And all of a sudden, there was no light that this could have happened with, but it sounds, I hate telling it because it's like, people probably are like, what the heck? But it literally, like a light shone from up above in the sky, shot down in front of us to where it was just a pure white light and blocked the vans back in front of us. Like I couldn't even read the license plate, and it shot up, and it literally happened in the blink of an eye. And I asked my sister, I was like, did you see that? Did you just see that? She's like, yeah, it was like a beam of light. That's the best way I can describe it. And so, guardian angel.
Or the watchers are still watching.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me wonder. I know I've mentioned this before, but I have dived into Norse paganism and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're learning about the Jotunheim, right? The frost giants. I wonder if they somehow related in the sense of how the giants Nephilim were.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I know there's some tie there, but I still don't know.
There's a lot of questions, because wasn't there a theory that like Stonehenge and certain like things
created by giants? Yeah.
were created by the Nephilim?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
aliens use it as a form of measurement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah.
I know, but I just basically wanted to talk about this and get your idea on it because it's something I learned recently.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely something he was like, this was literally a late night. We're just chilling, getting ready to go to sleep. And he's like, hey, have you ever heard of the Watchers? I want to do an episode on it.
Funny enough, just remember, in that movie, what the hell was the name of it? It had Russell Crowe play Noah.
Oh, Noah.
Was it called Noah?
I think so. I think it was just straight up.
Where Emma Watson played one of his daughters-in-law.
Yeah. I think so.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was
Noah?
just Noah, yeah.
Anyway, it depicted the Watchers in it,
Really?
but they're like giant things made of stone.
Interesting.
Yeah, but when they died, they were broken free from the stone and basically became beings of light again.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, so I know how the Creator, they would use that word. The Creator punished us to stay here and watch you humans.
Interesting.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again after
Yeah.
that. I know all this
now
stuff.
You know that, yeah. Definitely.
But I guess that's wraps us up and stuff like that.
I'm excited for next week's.
What is next week's episode?
So
Something you're passionate about?
Well, I wasn't passionate. And anybody that listened to Fairy Folk, our episode from a while ago, knows that like we kind of tiptoed on gnomes, and I normally am not into fairy folk, the fae, gnomes. It's one of those concepts is just like very hard for me to believe. Like, I don't know why. I have the hardest time wrapping my head around it. But recently, I have been almost obsessed on researching about gnomes or duendes, which is like, duendes is essentially the same thing as gnomes, just in other, I think the Philippines, they call it duendes. Mexico and Spanish countries, they call it duendes. And one other country that calls it duendes, but anyway.
The Spanish term, so.
Yeah. So what started that really quick is you can look it up. It's kind of creepy looking. Apparently a box of gnomes. It was a picture that was taken, but the box of gnomes. So basically in the 1700s, a witch captured these gnomes because I guess she was having issues with them in her house. It sounds so far-fetched, but like when you look at the picture, you're just like, whoa.
Save it for the episode.
Yeah, that's what started it. So a 1700s witch captured gnomes, and they found it in a box recently, or I don't know if it was recently or like within the last like couple of years. And they took a picture and they posted it, and that's what started it for me. And I went down this big rabbit hole, and I was like, whoa! Like a lot of people have gnome encounters.
Yeah, and we're talking about that next episode.
Yeah,
where you go off and
tell you the whole episode. Yeah, tell you the whole episode just right now.
All right.
Oh, haunted update. Real quick.
We're gonna get to that.
Okay, sorry.
So that's next week's episode.
Yeah.
But yes, we have a kind of a haunted update.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys. I don't know if Isaac can come with me, but it would definitely this. I don't know if I'm going to Instagram live it or record the video and then post it. Depends on my situation and how I'm like there. But there's a haunted, supposedly haunted trail that is literally right next to us. Apparently I'm on some forums on Facebook about like local like haunts and stuff, so I can keep up with that from people's encounter stories. And apparently there was a photographer that commented, hey, does anybody know of any like creepy stuff that's been happening at this? Because it's like a park and a trail, but the park is like separate and the trail is separate. And I've been getting really into like local history ever since we did the Haunted Camp Lejeune site, and we were talking about Old Turning Point, which is the foundation of an old settlement that was here on like the 1700s. And so, anyways, so I was on this forum, and like I said, the photographer lady showed her pictures, and she captured this like shadow figure thing. And every time it does it, like every time I look at photos of this area, and I've gone on this trail before, and I've always felt weird stuff. I didn't like it. Like things were, like I've had incidences where things prevented me from going on the trail, like just of random things because I went on there when Killian was a baby, and I remember, yeah, it was weird. I'll talk about that like in the video when I go there, kind of my situation, how it made me feel and stuff like that while I'm there, but taking you guys with me so you guys can see it too. But yeah, so a lot of people were mentioning in the comments like, yeah, I've always felt weird stuff and everything, and every time I look at pictures, I keep getting in my third eye like these hooded shadow things. I don't even know. I found out that the actual history of that area, there was Native Americans that were settled along the river. They got massacred. There was a massacre there with that. Then the settlers came, lived in that area, and then they got massacred. But basically, the land in the area was cursed by Native Americans because of what had happened to them. So,
well, you can go Sunday when I'm off.
Yeah. So hopefully I could take Isaac with me so I could explain to you guys if there is any dark stuff there and explain to you guys kind of what I see and like how I go about like going to these haunted places. So anybody that, you know, is interested ability wise and stuff like how we handle haunted locations can see. But I'm just curious because I've always felt bad stuff there. I never really liked it. So and there's a lot of like untapped in history around this area that to me, I mean, it would produce paranormal activity. So I'm gonna check it out and take you guys with us.
All right, so look forward to that.
Yeah.
I also look forward to next week's episode about gnomes and duendes.
What'd you call it?
Duendes.
Duendes.
Duendes. Duendes.
Duendes.
Next week. As always, guys, you can catch our social media at Hidden in the Shadows Podcast on Instagram, Hidden the Sha 6 on Twitter, or Hidden the Podcast 2 on TikTok, or links to all our social media and all ways you can listen to us at hiddentheshadowspodcast.com. Those are links to our merch store where you can actually buy a shirt or some stuff. Yeah, so
yep.
See you weirdos in the next one.
Yep.
Monsters on the inside.